everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Gaffing the Truth. As always, it's myself and Scabs the Clown as we are going to kind of get to the bottom of some of the crazier and the weirder shit when it comes to things like cryptids and conspiracies and just weird theories about stuff. And today we're going to be talking about the weird shit about Egypt. Egypt always has a weird spot when it comes to just random crazy shit that's like festered since actually King Tut's tomb, really, as far as when it comes to modern
Mhm.
pop culture. But
I
first,
mean,
let me welcome Scabs the Clown. How is it going, Scabs?
it's going. It's going pretty well. I'm doing all right. A little sore, but I'm good. Good. It was a long weekend.
Yeah, for those people tuning in, Scabs actually went back to performing this weekend with a socially distanced sideshow extravaganza there at the Houston Haunt, which is Creepy Hollow, which is actually an amazing haunted house. If you're in the Houston area, I do recommend checking it out, if only for the sideshow.
Yeah. Currently, we have one haunted house open because I think they're going to open this new haunted house this weekend, or one of the other haunted houses. They had to find ways to make it safe for actors and patrons to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
So, putting up plexiglass between scares, so if they jump out, they're not getting, spit on by anybody else. Oh, there we go.
Like
Ta-da.
that. Like that. Yeah, he's scared like that.
I was wondering when that was going to happen. Yeah. But it's going all right so far. I mean, just adhering to the rules, wearing masks. We stay pretty far away from each other when we're on stage, so we only wear masks when we need to. Otherwise, yeah, it's a learning experience and it's a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear you're finding some sort of normalcy out of this, and you guys are figured out a way at least to make it work there.
Me too.
That is unlike.
It was kind of like it was like riding a bike again. If the bike hurts a lot.
So normal. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
The hurt is a little bit more than normal because you're not used to hurting yourself quite that way in a while. So no, I get
Yeah,
it.
man. That's why I'm so sore right now. I'm like, oh man, it's been a while since I've done all this, and like just to jump into doing 4 shows in one night, like on the hour, like, yeah. But no, I'm. It's a happy sore. I'm glad.
No, it's really cool. I'm still. You can hear me talking out of my mic. I have my headset on, so I can talk. My dog is very insistent about going outside, so I'm gonna let him out. So we planned, and when I say planned, we going, hey, let's do this dumb shit. So we planned this week. We said we want to talk about Egypt because it's a fun thing to talk about. And weirdly enough, it's weirdly enough that stuff has actually come up in the news in the past week about Egypt after we talked about doing this, no less. So it's like a weird sign.
Yeah.
Because back in October 3rd, they announced that they found at least 59 sealed sarcophagi with mummies inside most of them that were buried in these 3 wells more than 2,600 years ago, out like in the vast necropolis south of Cairo, in that big area where you see all the it's in like the ancient area of Memphis where they had all the especially where all the Giza pyramids and all that fun
Yeah,
stuff.
Elvis and all that.
But that's really weird. That's how many they found so far. They're saying there's stuff they can find even more so in that right area where they can find a ton more because it was their necropolis. So that's where they buried the dead. And the desert took a lot of that away, and they're discovering stuff every day. So it's just really cool and interesting.
Yeah, like that's one of the things that like makes Egypt so like, or like just so mysterious because the sand like comes and goes. Like there's like stuff that were like people were like, hey, I saw this structure here. It's here. They take them to that spot and there's nothing there. And then 20 years later, the wind blows a different direction and uncovers it again, and people are like, hey, I found this thing, and then that guy's already dead, but like he's from the grave, like, I told you.
Well, I know. I watched that first Mummy movie. I know how it works.
Yeah. I was hoping we'd talk about Brendan Fraser.
Of course, we should always talk about Brendan Fraser. He's such an amazing actor, and
Yeah,
I'm glad that he's
George of the Jungle.
that's George the Dude. Yeah, man, those are such great movies. I'm glad that he's doing the voice for Robot Man and Doom Patrol for
Oh, I didn't
DC
even
now,
know
like
that. That's
HBO
cool.
Max. Yeah, so yeah, that's like the first thing he did since like for a while because as we get off track as we are wont to do. Um, No, like during Mummy 3, he hurt himself really, really bad, and for like the next like 10 years, he had to deal with a lot of really intense pain
Oh
and
wow.
deal with like pain, painkiller addiction, and then like plus serious pain, like he wasn't treated well. Just
Hmm.
just put on painkillers, fell in love with painkillers. Oh, then he got into a really, really nasty divorce where he was paying like an exorbitant amount of money for alimony, and
Ooh.
she's supposed to like everything I've heard is he's been always such a super nice guy. She's been not a great person. Oh, and the other thing is like he came out and talked about some like movie executive who grabbed him and
Oh
like
yeah,
grabbed
I
him,
remember hearing about that. Yeah.
and so and he said that at a time when pre the Me Too movement, and so he was all but black. That was another thing that kind of kept him on the download. They go, all these
Yeah.
things between and then just depression and all this other stuff. But now he's on his way back, and I'm really happy. And so hopefully he'll at least do
Good.
a
Yeah.
voice for whatever Mummy reboot happens next. But as we're back, we'll
At
go back
least
to
make
talk.
a cameo.
Oh yeah, like when he did a cameo on the GI Joe movie as his grandson. That actually
I never
happened.
saw the GI Joe movie.
Rise of Cobra. It's one of those weird movies that has a lot of amazing people with a really, really horrible script. And I
Yeah,
mean,
that's kind of I kind of felt like it would. That's what it would be, because I got really burnt out. Like, not that it's just an old fucking movie, but like Mortal Kombat. Like Mortal Kombat was my favorite thing back in the day, and then the movie just killed it.
I enjoyed the first one, but yeah, when Annihilation came out, definitely.
Yeah, I mean the
Uh,
first one was just campy enough, and they knew they were campy. But the second one, it was like we're campy as shit, and we're trying really hard not to be.
and we're gonna throw everything into this movie because every
Yeah.
character at that point got put in that movie at least for a minute.
Hmm. Yeah. But back to Egypt. Another
Yeah.
thing that was really recent. um, in August of this year, August 2020, Elon Musk uh, posted tweeted. Um, it was basically like the pyramids were built by aliens. We all know this, or something along those lines. Just a silly thing. And the Egyptian government actually invited him out to come and look at the pyramids to see that they were actually built by humans.
Oh well, that's cool. I think that has to come into play because their tourism is floundering. So that makes sense. So bringing somebody like Elon Musk would be probably a good get to get people back on board to do tourism. And the reason tourism is bad is because they've been having lots of government uprisings, so nobody feels safe going there.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I was reading some other stuff about like their their president, prime minister. I'm not sure what they call him, but he's like, we have the cure for the coronavirus, and we're not giving it to anybody. The leaders from all over the world, including President Trump, have begged us, crying, pleading for it, and we will not give it away. And it's like, you don't what's going on? Apparently, he's just like blah, erratic and just screams shit all the time.
yeah, we don't know anything like that at all.
No. Yeah, you think they'd get along? Weird.
No.
Um, one of the things, I mean, I think it'd be like the obvious way to go. I'm sure it'll come up here and there, but like aliens, like there's like that's just such a common thing. We can go through some of the stuff about aliens, but like I don't want this whole thing to be about aliens. We've got another episode for that.
That's true. I mean, we'll skim the surface here a little bit of it. Just the fact is that I mean, since the days of Stargate, aliens have had ties to Egypt. Egypt actually predates that. That's why they got the idea to add that stuff. But yeah, Now that's been because like it's the people for the longest time couldn't figure out how they did it. They have recently figured out how they did it,
Hmm.
but and all it was just wetting the sand because it made it easier to push shit around. And
Hmm.
so once you figured that out, you go, oh, it's just not nearly as hard as it could think it'd be, or it could think
Yeah,
it
I
could
actually
be.
wrote some. I wrote some stuff down about that. Like, just fun fact: slaves didn't really build the pyramids.
Not as a
It
whole,
was
no.
it was more likely, like, let's see, more likely built by paid laborers, artisans, craftsmen. Slaves were more like for servitude, not really building things.
No,
And the biblical
yeah.
thing about it, a lot of historians actually believe that the Jews weren't slaves in Egypt, and it's misinterpreted, and they were actually slaves in Babylon. By the time the Jews got to Egypt, it was already like the pyramids were already old; they were already there. It was well, did I write that down? Oh yeah, pyramids were already old. The Jews settled. They were not slaved, but the pharaoh at the time ordered them to leave. Um, so I mean, they were persecuted to an extent. They were just in the Nile Delta where they tried to settle, and they kind of got a little established. And then the pharaoh was like, "Nah, get out of here." So yeah, persecuted, but not enslaved.
Yeah. I'm not gonna touch that one. No, it's one of those things that no, everything is by interpretation
Hmm.
and whatnot for some stuff, and
Yeah.
it's hard. I wasn't there. I don't know. I will say
Yeah,
that
I mean, we'll
I've
never
heard.
know. It could have been
Yeah.
aliens for all we fucking know. Like,
Well, I did hear the fact is that for the most part, slaves were not part of most of the at least the construction of the larger pyramids. I don't know
hmm.
about all of them, but at
Oh yeah,
least
no.
yeah, like
We're
like
talking about the main three.
yeah, those three were most likely done by as a whole done as
Hmm.
by artists and stuff like that. Now, some of that subcontracting may have involved some slave labor, but not as a whole.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
And that was another thing because I mean the Sphinx is pretty much right there. Um, the Sphinx, there's actually a new theory that the Sphinx is way older than we think it is, and wasn't actually built but carved out of a pre-existing rock.
That's I heard something about that. I want to say it's like 8,000 years older than the pyramids or something like
Hmm.
that. At
Yeah.
least the main body is. The head got redone. That's
Yeah,
so
the
that
head got
that's
redone.
that
Yeah,
the
they don't
head
know what
was
the
new.
original head was. There's no way of telling what the original head
They're
was. They just
guessing
turned
it's
it into
prob
the Sphinx.
they're guessing it was probably something like like a wolf or a dog, kind of like an
A wolf,
Anubis
more,
sort of
more
thing,
likely a cat.
or
Egyptians,
well,
cats.
yeah, either a cat or like an Anubis head or something.
Yeah,
That sort of thing. Both seem most likely.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, it was probably like a blue avian face. The
Also, it could
aliens that
be.
came down and built the pyramids. Yeah, it was a blue avian.
Well, I mean, the fact is, like, you have somebody like Set, the god of Set, who has a head of is the only one with a head of something that doesn't exist as far as the animal wise. Um, all the
What
other
was
ones, all
set?
the Set is the god of chaos and
I know what
destruction.
it is. I'm just trying to think of what he looks like.
Hey, look, it's got a long, thin head. They attribute the fact is it might have been like an old, like it might have been an Egyptian jackal face. They're
Okay.
guessing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. 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 I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
got a longer snout sort of thing, but it's one of those. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't exactly look like that, so they're going. They don't know what he is. Like, it's the one animal nobody recognizes. Like all the other
Yeah.
major Egyptian godheads, you go, oh yeah, that's an ox, that's a crocodile, that's a bird, that's a hawk,
Hmm.
that's a, and so on and so forth. But Set's
Yeah.
head, they're going. Maybe it was a jackal that lived at its time that's long since it's gone extinct because it's
Mm.
also possible. Like lots of animals die and go extinct because one reason or another.
Yeah.
Have you
Actually,
heard
that
about
kind of
the?
goes towards one of the cryptids that I have.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Um, and this one's from the 1950s. It's the Ataka carcass. After like this major storm in the 1950s, this carcass washed on shore, and it looked like a giant whale, except it had giant tusks. And there are several people who claim they saw it actually swimming out in the bay like a week to 10 days before the storm happened. But researchers, scientists, all them say it was probably a bride's whale.
Okay.
And it wasn't like tusks, it was just an exposed mandible.
Just because it's dead and just how it
Yeah,
got ripped
it
open
was
or whatever.
bloated. It like came off. Something ate it. Who knows? But yeah, so it was an
Possible.
exposed mandible. So it looked like tusks. I mean, there's
Yeah.
actual pictures of it. It was a thing that happened. But
No, yeah,
yeah,
but as far as what, most
yeah,
likely you're
what it
probably right.
was.
Hey,
Mm.
old Humble guy is in the chat. Hello,
Oh,
old Humble
bottoms
guy.
up
We are drinking not whiskey right now because just not.
because I'm out.
I'm out as
I'm
well.
almost out
It's
of beer
actually
too. I might have to make a beer run here in a second. Not like to the
uh,
store, just to the fridge.
yeah. So yeah, actually, I'm out of whiskey as well. That might be on my trip home tomorrow from work. So have you heard about the lost labyrinth of Egypt?
That sounds vaguely familiar, but no, I'm not going to claim to.
All right, that's fair. So supposedly, like 2,500 years ago or so, and there was like a thing. There was like actually this. They say that there was actually this massive labyrinth in Egypt that actually, when what people who saw it said it surpassed even the pyramids when it came to size and scope. It was actually a massive building that was only 2 stories tall, but there was like over 3,000 different rooms, all connected with a winding maze of passages just so complex that you can
And
never
that's
find.
where the centaur was.
That's a minotaur. The
No, there's
minotaur.
centaurs. Centaurs. Oh wait, no, minotaur. Minotaur is the horse.
No,
I thought it
centaur
was
is
a
the horse.
centaur. Oh
Mentor,
no, you're right.
minotaur
You're
is
right.
the
You're right.
bullhead, and
Yeah,
that's
you're right. Take it
yeah,
back.
that's that's the
I
island
got you.
off of Greece.
Yeah.
But they think they pretty much found a 1,000 foot stone plateau, like a 300-meter wide, so 1,000 foot by 1,000 foot, so it's huge plateau that they believe that was once the foundation of the labyrinth. But of course, time being what it is, eventually stuff goes away. They actually had teams of geo radar specialists. Got it. And they found that underneath there's actually another underground labyrinth underneath that tableau that's even just could be just as complicated, but nobody's willing to go inside.
Interesting. They can't like they know it's there, but they can't really map it.
I mean, they can to a point, but the thing is, like, it looks, but the way it looks, because unfortunately, I'll talk about it in a minute as far as how weird, fucked up when it comes to like geo radar, especially in Egypt with a lot of the Egyptology, because the way things are. Actually, comes down to the fact is that because of the way passages and other passages are, so they'll get some air through it, and it messes up with lots of fucked up it'll change the temperature and stuff, so you're really unsure what levels are. But if it's anywhere as a anything is what the legends say, that there actually could be even more levels underneath, which actually makes it even trickier to track. So
Hmm.
I think eventually somebody who is like dumb and retarded, like a couple of sideshow folks, need to show up there and just like to just go, all right,
Hell yeah.
let's
Like we're gonna figure this out.
just we're gonna
And
do
then
a
we'll
big
find the elusive Centiminotaur.
the sentimental tar. Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's just
hey,
a bull.
yeah. So hey, Broken's on the channel too, and saying, "What's the good word?
How you doing?
What's going on, Broken? I heard you
Yeah,
guys did great."
cheers. Man.
And then, and of course, another recent thing
Wait,
they
you know
had
what's
when
down there? I know I figured out what's down in the labyrinth.
what's what's down there in their labyrinth?
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Scorpion King.
Yeah.
So that's where he set the name. It's like he's no longer the Rock; he's Dwayne Johnson. So he put the Rock into the labyrinth. He's still Dwayne. Now it's
Yeah.
just Dwayne Johnson, but the Rock.
Yeah. And then he was an
As he's
ugly,
waiting for, as
horrible
he's waiting,
CGI scorpion monster.
yeah, as he's waiting for the millions and
Mm-hmm.
millions of people to go down there and find him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. He's cooking dinner. That's what the Rock's been cooking this whole time.
little
It's just a
paella.
big old. It's just a big old feast for everybody who finds him.
Sorry,
He's just in
nice
an
big,
apron, like, hey, you want some eggs?
a big huge paella. Just with a big pot. Uh, um, Also, another weird thing that happens talking about geoscanning, georadar. They actually, with the Great Pyramid that was built by Khufu, the
Mm.
pharaoh Khufu, just so people are aware, um, it was built 4,500 years ago. Um, they actually found like because everybody's like always wondering, well, why so big when there's just like so little things they found. Well, guess what? They found another huge room in there that's above the room they've explored, but it's completely bricked in. There's no access way into it whatsoever. There's no vents. There's no corridors. There's no pathways. Nothing. It's like they put something in there and then they completely sealed it to the point where you can't even see where like the door is. And there's something in there they can tell, but they just can't. They just don't know what, because it's just like, because once again, geo radars, with you, it just is really, they can tell there's a mass there and there's something more to it, but they just don't know what.
Yeah.
And there's no way to easily get into it either because of the danger of hurting anything. Like basically, it's like they can't figure out where to chip without possibly losing integrity within the pyramid.
Yeah. I remember that. Well, there was this viral video. Well, I say viral, but like like nerds like me saw it. It was this dude made a website, anonymous guy, and said, like he sent it to like the Egyptian government, prime minister, like scientists, all kinds of shit, and he was like, I have proof. I know what's going on. Give me $1 million, and I won't expose what you already know. And basically, he went to the pyramids, found a hole, like a little opening on the outside. So he made an RC car with a camera on it and drove it into the hole, and it just conveniently fit like the whole way through. So it was obviously real.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, and it kind of comes to an end. It's dark, and then it hits that dark spot, and then the room kind of lights up, and you see like torches and what looks like a monk down there, and then it just ends right there. And it's like, oh, there's weird like monks in the pyramids. Yeah, I've seen that video so many times, like just on like conspiracy YouTube shows and shit. They're like, what did he really know? Like he just knew how to put a camera on a car and then drive it through some bricks with night vision on.
And it could be any place.
Yeah, he had good editing skills. He was like, here's me at the pyramids. Here's me. Oh, the car's already in. You don't see me actually putting it in here.
Yeah. Nah. Who was it? There was like some. God, no, I didn't look this up, so that's Um, so there was actually some dude, some famous paranormal guy, a writer. I won't say that wasn't H.P. Lovecraft. It was one of the others like that. That they actually, fuck, that did his honeymoon at the pyramids, and they, you know, apparently they consummated the marriage supposedly in some of the chambers within the Great Pyramid. Now, mind you, this is like 1920, 1930s, not
Yeah,
today.
was it
Uh,
Crowley?
Crowley was Crowley. That's I was trying to remember who it
Yeah.
was. It was Aleister Crowley. Did that. Apparently,
Yeah, I
supposedly.
mean, he also took dudes to the desert, hopped them up on like way too much acid, and then fucked them in the ass for hours. Yeah,
That's
Crowley's an
yeah.
interesting
That's
guy. We
Crowley
should
is
do an
interesting.
episode on Crowley sometime.
That would. I mean, actually, weirdly, he has a lot of ties to Egypt. That's what's really weird. So I just his name just escaped me right now. As I go, I could not remember his name. But yeah. Um, Here's another really cool thing. So back in 1848, this is actually the start. Like 1848, and around that time was kind of start for people to get into Egyptology. It really didn't catch on for like another 30 years. But some dude bought what he called an ancient Egyptian mummy off of a shopkeeper in Alexandria. And for years, he just put it as a decor, like in a like he just had it on display as decoration. Look at my mummy; it's awesome. But here's what's fucked up about this particular mummy. He goes, So after peeling off some of the bandages some decades later, they actually discovered that the linen that was covering the body was actually a book. So you're removing the wrappings. It turns out to be a book, and it's not even a book in Egyptian.
Hmm.
What happens is after a while, it took to figure out it was actually all written in the language of the Etruscans, which is and actually even more ancient civilization, like not more, but like a bit more Italy. And basically, what like, Italy was originally, Italy was part of the Etruscan Empire, and it's one of those like the Etruscans. We know who they are. They had some dealings and stuff like that, and but it's like the weird. This is actually the longest amount of the Etruscan text that's ever been found. Has been off of this mummy that was bought for like $20 to put on display.
Shit.
And the thing is, it's like because it's a dead language, so they don't even know what the fucking thing says. They just figured it out as Etruscan because it goes, oh yeah, the Etruscan thing that's their symbol for things. That's these symbols for Etruscan. That's like they figured out that it was, but
Yeah.
why was a mummy in Egypt wrapped in the text of the Etruscans?
Hmm.
Or was it wrapped there and then how did it fucking get to Egypt? Yeah, this is 1848, so it wasn't like at that time well, there was some trade for that sort of stuff. It wasn't like the
Yeah.
heyday of the late 1800s when it came to anybody who was buying just random shit from Egypt.
I mean,
So
it could have been somebody who was actually trying to smuggle that to somewhere else and it got lost in transit and bounced around along the way. Maybe there is a society that still uses the Etruscan language to, convey messages, and this is something really important that never made it to its destination.
for at least at the time,
Yeah.
it could be. I don't know. It's really weird. Elmer McCurdy, famous sideshow Western mummy. That is, yeah. I know a little bit about Elmer McCurdy. I don't know a ton of it, but also a famous thing that Chris Broken brings up. But no, it's just like one of these weird kind of. I was trying to track down some weird, what's some weird fucked up Egypt stuff, and I like that mummy thing. I was going,
Yeah.
that's some
Right.
fucking weird shit.
Do you want to know what the pyramids actually are?
They're
The
a
pyramids are
bomb.
the pyramids are Noah's Ark. Yeah, yeah. Saw it on the internet. It's true. It was based on a translation debate. The ark isn't described as tall; it's actually the description of a pyramid. This dude named Simpson claims the Dead Sea Scrolls, medieval Italian artists, and very, very far reach. Ugh, that it makes sense because Egypt is in the Bible.
Said Simpson.
Sibson,
Oh,
Sibson.
I thought
Not
Simpsons. Is his
Simpson.
name
No,
for
this what
Homer
it's.
Simpson?
No, Homer didn't do it. Not this time. No.
um. All right. I've gone on record many times about my thoughts on the Bible in general, but when Egypt pops up in the Bible, even within the Bible chronology, is much later than Noah and the Ark, and
um.
they also get
So
into real big detail on how they made that fucking boat. So in the Bible,
you know what? Here, I'm gonna need 2 seconds. I'm gonna go grab a beer real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna need a minute for this one. You might want to get a drink as well.
I get a real drink. Okay, let me see what I got at the bar, which everybody can
Yeah.
see me get. So yeah. What should I drink today? I suspect because of this thing going on, I'm gonna just rock the absinthe, and we're gonna get a little nuts.
Oh.
I just feel like I'm gonna need it. So, based on you're gonna need a drink. And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fuck around, so
So yeah.
I'm
Um,
listening.
yeah. Okay. So pyramids built by, they're actually Noah's Ark. Now, figured that one out. Uh, this is just like the most out there, what the hell thing. Hang on, I gotta hit this cigarette real quick.
And now we found the thing that has broken the show. Good to go.
Yeah.
Good to
Okay.
know.
So there's a quote in the Bible that said squared stone and rubble. And this
Okay.
prompted a theory that the pyramids, in all their glory, were built by Joseph, the father of Jesus, to store wheat.
Oh my fucking No. That's not
Guess who came
I'm
up with?
not gonna entertain that shit. That's there's so much wrong with that
Wait,
oh, it
guess who
gets
takes
more?
credit? Yeah, guess who takes credit?
Okay.
Christians.
Of course they do.
Yeah, Christians take credit for that. Yeah, they just want to like be like, oh yeah, those are Christian structures. Yeah, so those weird, hardcore, crazy Christians. I know some cool Christians. Don't get me wrong. I don't care what you believe, but like, if you're just gonna believe stuff like that, like, come on, man. It actually it's a theory from the 6th century. It goes back that far. And it was brought back by the 2016 Republican primary, Ben Carson.
Our Secretary of Housing, Ben Carson.
Yes, it was brought back by him in 2016. No, in 27. No, yeah, no, it was 2016. He was elected in 2017.
So the Secretary of the Department of Housing brought this shit back.
Housing and urban development.
That's
I wanted to put his whole title in there. He's
no, it's
actually
fair.
the 17th. He's the 17th one.
All
Since
right.
that chair has been a thing, he's been the 17th one.
And this is not the weirdly like this might be the craziest thing he's come up with, and he's got lots of crazy shit that he spouted off, and this might take the cake. I think I remember
Yeah.
him saying, I now have some vague memory of him talking about something, but it was such a quick bullet point because it goes, here's this crazy thing Ben Carson says, and then Trump said something even crazier, so he got distracted by it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but I think I kind of remember this, but I don't remember the details. But I think I remember him saying, yeah, the pyramids are Christian. I don't think I remember. That does sound kind of familiar, but still, the fuck what? I'm gonna finish this 1 second because wow.
So we kind of got distracted there. A little earlier. Do you want to come down from this? Do you want a silly one, or do you want another fucked up one? Do I have another fucked up one? Well, I guess. Well, okay.
I don't think you can
Okay.
top that. I mean, no matter what you're
No,
gonna
no,
say,
no.
it's
I
not
should
gonna
have saved
top
that
that.
one. I really should have saved that one for the end.
I've got a really
But
good one to end. Yeah, I get a really great one to end with this too. That I'll save off.
yeah,
So
I
let
mean,
me.
we still got 20 minutes. I got a couple more for you. This one, the pyramids are actually an energy source. Now I've heard this, like that theory, like aliens, like they come and like the pyramids like shoot lasers up into them, and they recharge their ships and they fly away. But this story says the KGB did pyramid research and found strange electromagnetic power fields surrounding the pyramids. And when they were describing it, they were like, I wouldn't really clear whether they like took a piece off of it or if they were studying it right there. But they described it as a magnetic repulsive force emanating from the rock.
I mean, he is magnetic after all, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the people's eyebrow is hard to refuse.
Yeah.
All right, so this actually stems with one of the so remind me about this later, because what I want to end with involves actually energy source stuff as well. Because the thing I want to end on is going to kind of tap into that along with some other stuff. But
Okay. Well, I mean,
but
I've got a
still,
couple more.
I've got a few too beyond that. So there's actually the pyramid of I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of this name, Jedefre, which was a pyramid that was it was supposed to be going to be the highest pyramid in all of Egypt. And he really wanted to make sure so. Now he didn't have the resources to make the biggest one, so he kind of cheated and found a hill to build his pyramid on, so that way it would top out to be the tallest pyramid. But what's here's fucked up is fact is that his pyramid is actually just in rubble, and it's barely like 10 or 15 feet off the ground. So why was his pyramid destroyed versus the other ones? And he came in later, so it wasn't like Khufu came in and he goes fuck that. No, he just really all it is like this little rubble base, and nobody's really sure why. Was it the fact just that maybe he just died too quick and they just say fuck off with the pyramid? Popular theory is the fact is the Romans actually just used it as as fodder for them to build their own shit.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard like theories about stuff like that. Like, it was like they just used it as target practice because they were marching through, or there was like a small altercation, and they were like, "Hey, you're a peaceful place, and we're an army. Fuck you," and then just destroyed it in front of them to be dicks. I've read and heard different stories like that.
Well, Napoleon's army is the one who fucked up like the Sphinx's nose, so
that's actually hearsay. That's they don't know where that story came from, so they don't know if it's true or not.
I mean, but the timing is correct. Now, how it happened is what is hearsay. Now, whether it's a canon or it just fucking fell off on its own, it's hard to say. Or just loud noise.
That's actually the theory is like erosion. It just took its beating because of the way the nose was shaped. It just fell off one day.
Yeah, I mean, but still, it's a better story to say,
Oh yeah, better story for like Napoleon shot a cannon at it and he was like, "Woo, take that, nose."
Well, I mean, there was like they were having the French were at war at the time there, so in that respect, it does make sense. But so
yeah.
So what other fun stuff have you got? We still got 20 minutes.
The pyramids were actually built by the Illuminati.
I mean,
that's why they use the Eye of Horus, the pyramid, and everything. The Latin, like around the dollar bill, it's supposed to mean one from many. Illuminati scholars actually say it means New World Order.
So out of one or out of many. Oh God, I can remember.
Yeah,
that was actually supposed to be our fucking like motto for the United States was E pluribus
unum. I mean, that's why they have that Latin. Yeah, but it actually, here's the funny part. This whole theory, like, there's a whole lot more to it. Just it's the Eye of Horus, and all this, and it actually comes from this weird series of books that weren't named, but they were popularized and later spiritualized. Like, people like use these to like hey, the government's wrong, man. And then they were like just popularized by the fucking hippies, and then they turned it into a weird fucking religion that believes the Illuminati built the pyramids.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
Uh, can't believe what's real, man. What's
yeah,
weird? What's okay? Here's the fucked up thing: is all that kind of stuff you can't believe was real now. It's all like right wing, like getting off subject
yeah,
again. Fucking
yeah.
QAnon is
But see,
all this.
man,
That's what
like
QAnon.
some good
Yeah,
window pane was real cheap back then.
yeah. QAnon is what this shit is today. Uh,
Yeah,
ugh, man. Let's talk about the lost land of Punt.
und
Punt, Punt. So like punt, but I get but I don't like it. Still feels weird saying the lost land of punt. So I figured punt makes it sound more exotic.
und. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of ancient Egyptian writings actually make reference to a place called Punt. Supposedly, it was an ancient African kingdom because Egypt's in Africa. Uh, it's full of its
What?
gold. Yeah, no, people forget that all the time.
I
Like,
know, dude. Like, I mean, I remember when I learned that when I was a kid, and I'm like, I didn't expect it to be in Africa, but
yeah, because it's always tied to the Middle East, so you think it's all,
yeah, yeah,
which it still is the Middle East. It just also
it
happens to
is.
be in Africa.
Yeah,
Um, but it's what's weird is like the fact is like it's like all over their fucking writings of all about the land of Punt, which is supposed to be supposedly it was like this big huge neighboring like land that all the Egyptians thought was like super awesome. In fact, they so much so that they always dubbed it as God's land because it's so awesome. Now, it's referenced everywhere. There's even like a pictograph of a queen from there coming to Egypt. It's in an ancient Egyptian temple. But here's the fucked up thing: is nobody knows where it is. Like they go, this is this land. We've had people from the land. Where's the land? And people looked. Um,
what
so,
land?
so like they do things like they discover that most likely and maybe in areas like eastern Ethiopia, maybe or something like that. But they have yet to discover any civilization or remnants of any civilization that has to do with this land, other than references in Egyptian writing. So the Great Land of Punt. The only reason why they know Ethiopia is because they found mummified baboons in one of the temples, and they go, "Well, it's baboons. They're from this area ish, so it's probably
Yeah,
this way," but they don't fucking know where.
yeah,
That's just like a weird sort of thing. Like you're going, like, these are weird Egyptian things that are existence, and like a lot of the stuff I find fascinating because this is ties to where we came from in a lot of ways. So like the fact is like there's just despite how much we know about our past, we know next to nothing. And
hmm,
so I find that really fascinating. And then watching stuff pop up that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. There's so much stuff here that who knows what's going to happen. Like maybe 20,000 years or 10 or 15,000 years from now, people are going to hear about the mythical land of the United States.
yeah,
But
right.
there's no reference other than this weird like candy bar that says crackle on it, and that's it.
Yeah,
So they don't know where it
there
is.
was something like that in the Dark Tower series. They talked about a preacher whose entire sermon was based around a derelict gas pump that he found. You know,
Oh, that's
like
right. Yeah.
so we talked about the guy who drove his little toy car into the pyramids at one point. This actually happened. They found this. They were doing some exploration around the pyramid, inside the pyramid, or I don't know which pyramid it was, but they found a door. They found a secret passageway that led to a door, and this door had red paint on it, like red writing. And they had a little guy who had a robot, drill a little hole into it and record some stuff inside. He pulled it out and reviewed it, and he was like, "Oh, there was nothing on it, nothing. I didn't see anything." And they were like, "Can we see it?" And he goes, "No, we just won't let anybody see it."
That door, if it's the one I'm thinking of, is that door is actually in the Great Pyramid because they
Mhm.
did find a chamber that had a door that had another thing inside it, and so I know that they had to do one robot found it, and they had to send another robot to try to go past the door because it's a sealed door, and you just have a.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about like not reviewing it, but I heard I did hear the fact that there was nothing in it, but I didn't hear the fact that the guy wasn't letting anybody see what was in
Well,
the
no, it
footage.
was not necessarily just the guy. I didn't get a chance to read the whole article just because I was writing other stuff down. But it was from him and the minister of Egyptian protection, whatever. You
Yeah,
know, I don't know what he's called, but you know what I'm talking about. He's like protecting the history of Egypt and
the
everything.
Egyptian affairs, whatever, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
Egyptian
he's
antiquities.
basically the one who denied anybody else from seeing it.
Well, who knows?
Yeah,
But yeah, I did hear that. I did say the fact is that there is a chamber that they say is nothing behind that's hidden behind a door in the Great Pyramid. And this is in addition to the
yeah.
fact is there's another fucking whole nother level that they can't look at because of some reason. All
The
right.
electromagnetic stuff that the KGB found.
Well, here's the weird thing. So I'm gonna do this because this is a two-part thing. So I'm gonna talk about the electromagnetic stuff first because so like ages ago, I read a book about all this sort of stuff and things like that, and in some of the pyramids, there's a lower level where it's like a huge empty room, and on the sides they found like on the sides of this empty room thing, they found remnants of like alkaline salts, which aren't common to have anything like that, and they theorized that what the pyramids, or at least parts of the pyramids, are being used as battery storage, like batteries, like electrical
Yeah,
batteries.
there's the Baghdad batteries that they found, the
Yeah,
bases, which pretty much had the same thing, like the what was it, the copper rod going through it, and then like the acidic stuff from the
yeah,
salts.
and that's what I
Mm,
mean. Like basically, that's they theorized that's what the Ark of the Covenant was a weapon using that sort of stuff. But here's the thing I didn't realize that you discovered it. So on the wall of a temple in Dendara, Egypt, there's actually a massive relief of a weird image, and it shows, according to like if you just look at the image as it was, it looks kind of like a snake with a big ball of fire flying out of a lotus flower that's being held up by a pillar with human arms. But if you actually look at it, you can actually,
mhm.
if you actually take a time to look at it and stuff like that, it looks exactly like a model of the old Crookes tube, which was a precursor to the light bulb that was
Okay, yeah.
back in the 19th century. It's like designed almost very very similar, and so when you put that kind of thing as far as with the type of like the Baghdad batteries and stuff like that. Um,
Mm,
and then with this sort of thing, leads a lot of people to think that maybe they had a lot more. They like in a lot of ways they have a lot more discovery and stuff like that. And where it was in this in temple, a lot of the other rooms had like wood and or oil based lamps, except for this one room where they found the relief, which would be pitch black otherwise without something like this being used.
yeah.
But like adding that the fact is like they had all the Baghdad batteries and like a lot of the a lot of the pyramids actually had a room that was filled like actually set up to be that sort of thing. There's talk that the fact is that Egypt actually had some weird primitive forms of like electricity for certain things.
Mm.
Now,
I've heard that before. That's how like they would impress guests, with their powers of magic by actually like making like hieroglyphs light up in the walls and things like
yeah.
that. And
Now, I don't think they really understood the full grasp of what electricity is. I think it's very much. I would equate the fact is they do like things to make look like magic, or like the
mhm.
fact is that when settlers came to the New World initially, especially to South America, is none of the natives and the Americas were using anything wheel based. They
Mhm.
because but their toys had wheels.
Mhm.
But they didn't have chariots or wagons or anything like that. The only thing that had wheels were toys. And so I think maybe in the same sort of sense is that Egypt had some primitive use of electricity, but just didn't know. They just went, "Oh,
Yeah.
cool, sparkles."
Yeah. Right. Like, I get that. I'm the same way. Man. I mean, I wonder, like, what was it? The Library of Alexandria. Like, I mean, I wonder what we'd know about, the Egyptians and everything else if that hadn't been burned to the ground.
I know, right? It was the world's depository when it came to writing, not just paper, but also
Mm,
a lot of clay stuff. So a lot of the stuff, all the cuneiform stuff on clay, it was like it was at the time it was the foremost place to gain information because everything ended up going there because somebody whose name is unknown thought it'd be a good idea to have one place to find information, which is great.
yeah.
Just it's one of those
Yeah.
things that they didn't think about, things like safety in that respect. Because I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that was like, that was the internet.
That was the internet. It's like back when libraries are still a thing because
Yeah.
but
I mean, there's still libraries around.
yeah, no. But when I was a kid, a library was everything because
Oh, yeah. I went to the library a lot as a kid.
I lived in
Even
small
like,
town.
just for the hell of it, even like later on to get on the internet. And then one time I went to the library and I saw that you could get CDs, and I was like, "Whoa, cool! What kind of CDs do they have?" And they just had like the entire collection of Wu-Tang. Yeah, this little random library at Spring Branch had like 10 or 15 different fucking Wu-Tang CDs.
That is kind of weird. Now
I
I
mean, they
grew
had
up in
other stuff in there too, but like, just Wu-Tang was very prevalent throughout everything.
Yeah, I grew up in small town Texas, and so like in like the mid '80s, early '90s, and so and I wasn't a country sort of guy, so I did a lot of library reading and things like that because
Mm,
that was what I had. That's because I wasn't gonna go out and do that weird
yeah,
country shit. I have nothing against it personally. I like people are into it. Cool, great. Not for me. So it's like I always like libraries. So like the fact is that some place has a repository of all this weird information, like what the things that we'll never know now. So now we can only
yeah,
wonder, which is like maybe we'll have like they had the 18 volumes of the Land of Punt there to figure out what's going on there. Or maybe we
yeah.
up to here
Actual
with
accounts of like Atlantis and Lumeria and all those weird places we've never heard of. But we got just a couple minutes left.
yeah.
I wrote down a couple of the cryptids because they were just silly.
Well, I
I
know
mean, like they had
you and
like,
your you're in your love of cryptids, so yeah.
yeah, they had like they had like the blue avians, they had the Sphinx, they had some other shit. But the ones that just kind of caught my eye going through, the first one was the Axex or Axex. It's AXEX if you want to give that a try. Axex,
XX.
Axex. I don't know. Either way, it was a it was big. It was big, like it was like a kind of like a cougar or something. It was described as a muscular feline with a hawk head and wings.
Okay. Kind of
Yeah,
Griffin-esque.
yeah,
Sounds like
exactly.
a Griffin.
That's what I was hoping you'd say. It was a griffin, pretty much. But also, like the Sphinx is kind of a griffin, and well, the like if you see Sphinx in drawing, it's a griffin. On the built Sphinx doesn't have its wings.
Yeah,
That's
that's
because it
true.
wasn't supposed to. That's because it wasn't supposed to be a Sphinx. But anyway,
Yeah.
the Blemmies, Blemius, blah blah blah. Um, they were described as being a really big, bulky, like human, so a
Okay.
big person, probably like 6 to 9 feet tall. As they were described. They
Okay.
didn't have a head, no head, just a big old torso, arms and legs. But the face was on the torso. So their eyes were on their chest and their stomach was their mouth, and that's how they were. But that one was actually kind of figured out because there was this random Nubian tribe that was attacking the soldiers, and they had giant faces drawn on their body armor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes a level of sense. Yeah.
yeah. So there was the STA. It's a cat with a serpent head. So kind of, I guess it's maybe like the baby Axix
Okay.
because it doesn't have his wings yet, and it's a cat.
But it's
There's
got a
the
snake head though.
yeah, this one. I want you to look up a picture sometime. It's a serpopard. Serpopard.
Yeah, of course, because they're tight.
Yeah, thank you. It's a leopard that has a serpent neck and a leopard head. So it's a fucking it's a leopard giraffe. And then also, I mean, the very well known the Phoenix. It's basically a Jean Grey.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
figured.
yeah, yeah. That's all I wrote down. I didn't want to get
No,
like
that's
into. We could probably
no.
like do like an Egyptian cryptid fucking episode.
Oh,
There's
we
some
can
weird
just.
ones.
No, there's some weird fucking like creatures because like it litters their mythology, and that's
Yeah.
without even getting into the gods. But yeah, which and
Mm-hmm.
then it turns also influences things like the Greeks and the Romans and stuff like that too. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're just about out of time. Thank everybody for tuning in. Broken and Old Humble Guy are in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in as well. Anybody else who's watching later, thank you guys for tuning in as well. Because one reason or another, you can't watch it whenever you're watching when we're live. It's fine. Um,
Hey,
so
real quick, before we end this, I just saw what Broken was saying. Anubis, favorite war gods fighter on N64. If I'm thinking of the right game, my favorite character was Kabuki Joe. But anyway, continue.
I never had the N64, so I never played that game. Let's get our plugs out of the way. What you other than the haunt, which everybody should be going to with yourself and Chris Broken doing on Friday and Saturday. What else do you have to? You got anything else to plug beyond that?
Not really. I'm still trying to work out the kinks to do the live stream while I'm up there. I've got an idea. I'm going to give it a try this Saturday. We did a Zoom check. I talked to Mod God Lee for a little while, just kind of walked around the property, and everything was fine. But yeah, like we were talking about earlier, there's a whole bunch of other people up there, and it was whether I was using Wi-Fi or not, it didn't seem to matter.
Yeah, just once you get a lot of signal there, it's really tough sometimes.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. There was a ton of people out there using the Wi-Fi, using their phones in general. So yeah, I ended up in the parking lot and I couldn't move. So my plan was honestly to like walk around and show off the haunt, and show off some of the characters and everything. But what I'm hoping to be able to do is be able to have my phone stationary, don't touch it, because that seems to be how it worked well. And then I'll set up on stage and interview one of our Q line characters, one of our monsters or clowns that roam around outside of
Oh
the
yeah,
haunts to
that'd
to
be
mess with.
that'd be.
Interview them, get their backstory. Even I'm hoping I don't get one that just grunts and squeals for 20 minutes, but it is what it is.
That's true. That's what stun guns are for.
Yeah.
So what I got this week, I got the Devil's Hour on Wednesday, as I do every Wednesday right here in Cabin Fever live stream. So this week I've got an amazing band from right here in Austin, Texas, by the name of Sweet Spirit. They're really cool. Drag queen by the name of Sylvia Hatchet Purchase. Pokey Lafarge, who's a really awesome musician, very bluesy and stuff like that. I'm feeling I'm almost positive Broken knows who he is, because he's that sort of vibe. And then returning guest Tom Wall. Tom Wall's been on before. He's gonna be on again. It's gonna be a lot of fun. For Saturday, for after you get done with whatever you're doing, we're gonna do the G Spot again. Because I'm working 8 cajillion hours for work, I don't think I can focus as far as doing a professional interview. So I'm going to be showing another movie that I really like for haunted season, which I'm going to do the Vincent Price classic 1959's House on Haunted Hill.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's one of my
That is a
favorites,
good.
honestly. I love Vincent Price movies, dude,
I do
so
too,
much.
and so yeah, like when I did Carnival of Souls last week, it's just a great
Hmm.
psychological thriller
Yeah,
film.
like Fall of the House of Usher, Shock,
Oh yeah,
13, no, yeah, 13 Ghosts, House on
13
Haunted
Ghosts.
Hill.
I'm thinking about like 13 Ghosts maybe next week. The
Dude,
classic
I could
ones,
send you a list of my favorites. If you're
I
trying to do
would
like old like black and whites and everything, I love old black and white horror. That's
I
my
do.
shit.
I do too. My thing is, I got to make sure that they fit a certain criteria, which basically means public domain, so that way we don't get our channel shut
Yeah,
down. So
yeah.
I'm
No,
choosing
I
stuff that
totally get
works.
that. But also, like, I mean, I bought one of those fucking DVD packs at Walmart out of like the 375 bin, and it just had like 50 fucking black and white movies on it.
Oh
So if
yeah,
there's being
yeah. A
sold for
lot of those.
375, I don't think people care.
I think most of those are probably public domain, which is why they're all on there.
Yeah, I
But that's
guarantee
what's
you,
gonna
like
be.
Beast of Yucca Flats is public domain. Like,
I think it is. I think it might be.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm doing House on Haunted Hill this week, and then next week for us, we're gonna be talking like rocker deaths and like the Elvis is alive and like the 27 Club and all that fun stuff
oh
because
yeah, man. Tupac and Biggie are just kicking it in fucking Haiti, like not giving a shit, just laughing at all of us.
and like for people who are like we talk about this stuff all the time. All right, when we talked about what we're gonna do next coming up this month, this is the one I really push for because this is my shit because I love entertainment. I love the fucking rocker stuff. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
about the weird Paul is
I
dead
mean, dude,
shit.
you
I'm gonna
pretty
talk.
much let me kind of like head like most of like the really weird shit that I want to do. So if this is yours, like I'm just gonna write some dumb shit down and some stupid jokes, and I'm gonna let you run.
No, it's fun. It's one of those. That's usually how it works the other way. So no,
Yeah,
but no, it's like this. Of all things, like, because I keep up with everything going on. Because like Egypt, I mean, I knew quite a bit about the stuff going on in Egypt. I had a fun time, but like really, as we're talking about stuff to do this week, like, let's talk rocker deaths because there's some weird fucked up
hmm
shit with that. And so,
yeah, and I'm
so I don't
down with it.
believe
I
any of
love
it, but
old rock
I
and roll.
read about it.
I
So
love, yeah, I like music. Music's my shit. I don't really get into celebrities, but I love music.
I do too. So I like celebrity for the sake of the fact is because they're the ones who make the music, but I don't fault like the
Yeah.
pop culture
Oh man,
aspect.
I gotta look up all that crazy shit about Bob Marley now. Hell yeah.
So
Do you know
stand
about
up,
like any of
stand
Bob
up.
Marley's past or anything?
No, it's fucked up.
Oh man, like just the fucking shot does and every. Oh, it's so
Oh,
wild.
people think that he's just like this peace loving hippie dude.
Nope, he was a
Nope.
militant motherfucker.
He was vicious. The fact is, the fucking stomach cancer didn't get him. Like he would be popping caps on a lot of people.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
real. But
Man, that's why I love Marley so much.
that's what people. Yeah. He was singing love, but he wasn't about love. But thank you guys for.
Was it him and it might have been Peter Tosh actually, but like Marley and it was like a family barbecue, and I think Peter Tosh was there, the Wailers and everybody, and then some like fucking gang just comes up, starts shooting the house. Marley just walks outside and starts fucking shooting its car while they're shooting. Like, well, five people are shooting at him. He's just fucking. He got
I,
shot. Tosh got shot. Dude,
yeah, it
it
doesn't
was.
surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching the show, but whether live or later. We will see you guys soon. So until then, I'll see you guys Wednesday. You'll see me and Scabs on Saturday. Otherwise, and then of course next Monday. But until then, you guys have fun and keep drinking.